Imagine this. You've been getting harassing calls for almost a decade. Wrong numbers. Debt collectors. Banks desperate to track down someone you've never even met. Annoying, right? Now picture this. One day you find out all those calls. They weren't random. They were for your boss. The same boss who had been making your life a living hell at work. And suddenly, you realize you hold the power to bring him down. If you've ever dreamed about turning the tables on someone who thought they were untouchable, hit that like button, subscribe, and stick around. This is one of the most satisfying revenge stories you'll hear today. Early struggles and the cursed number. Back in 2004, fresh out of high school, my parents bought me my very first phone. It wasn't fancy, just a secondhand Nokia, bulky as a brick, but I cherished it. I promised myself that one day, I'd buy a brand new phone with my own hard-earned money. Fast forward to college. I was commuting 2 hours a day, buried in books, and winning a few academic awards along the way. One of those awards finally gave me enough money to buy something I'd been dreaming of, a brand new Sony Ericsson K300i. Sleek, shiny, and mine. With it came a premium SIM card. I didn't think much of it. I had no idea that little card carried the baggage of someone else's past life. By the third day, my phone wouldn't stop ringing. Calls for some guy named Bitsa. Credit companies. Banks. People demanding to know where their money was. I kept saying, wrong number, and hung up. But the calls never stopped. And for 20 years, they didn't stop. Every new phone I got, I'd block numbers. Back then, blocking was device-specific, so every time I upgraded, I had to start over. I kept a literal list of numbers to reblock. It became part of my routine. Annoying, but survivable. At the time, I had no idea that this stranger named Bitsa was going to crash into my real life in the worst possible way. In 2009, I graduated and landed my first job. A year later, I was assigned to a project everyone dreaded. Why? Because of one man, Bits. No last name, just Bits. But his reputation? Legendary. He ruled with an iron fist. From the second we walked into the office, his storm of emails and messages hit us like artillery fire. He thrived on chaos, shifting deadlines, demanding late nights, weekends, no excuses. He micromanaged everything, but when things went right, he'd snatch the credit. When things went wrong, he'd tear into us publicly, his voice booming, his temper unpredictable. People learned to walk on eggshells around him. Lunch breaks? Gone. He scheduled meetings then. Evenings? Forget it. He'd drag us into pointless calls just to remind us he was in charge. I felt trapped, powerless. But what cut deeper? He was from my area. Even went to my old school, though years before me. It was embarrassing to think we had that in common. Every day, I felt smaller under his control. And every day, the calls for Bitsa still buzzed in my pocket. In 2012, our company merged with a parent company. We got new systems, MS Outlook, org charts, a shiny new view of who reported to who. That's when I saw his full name. Bitsa. I froze. My cursed number. My nightmare boss. They were the same person. At first, I thought, no, coincidence. But my gut said otherwise. I called up an old mentor, someone who'd coached students in my area for decades. We talked. He confirmed it. This was the same guy. My blood boiled. For nearly a decade, this man had haunted me as a name on debt collection calls. And now, he was destroying my career, my health, my sanity. I realized life had handed me the perfect weapon. I stopped blocking calls. I unblocked every single number. Over 150. The floodgates opened. My phone went from 5 or 6 wrong calls a day to nearly 20. But instead of brushing them off, I changed my strategy. Hello? Oh, you're looking for Bitsa? Yes, this number doesn't belong to him anymore. But I can give you his new one. You should update your records. And I gave them his direct number. Sometimes, for good measure, I threw in his manager's number too. The collectors lit up like sharks smelling blood in the water. They'd been chasing him for nearly a decade, and I had just opened the door. What I didn't know was how bad it really was. This man wasn't just dodging a few unpaid bills. He was knee-deep in fraud. He'd taken out loans in his wife's name, his parents' names, even his uncles and aunts. And every time, he gave them my number. He was dodging over $200,000 in debts. In my country, that's not just a lot of money. It's life-ruining money. There were around 20 cases filed against him, but the collectors couldn't find him. He thought he was invincible. Not anymore. Soon, his manager started getting calls. Endless calls. Some say they were about his debts. Others say it was angry banks demanding accountability. Whatever the case, Bitz's carefully crafted facade cracked. 2 months later, he was gone. Fired. Disappeared. I can't describe the satisfaction. For years, he made me feel powerless. He crushed spirits, destroyed balance, humiliated people just to feed his ego. But in the end, his downfall came from the very thing he thought he could run from. And it came from me. The same guy he belittled and controlled had unknowingly carried his dirty past for years. And with one decision, giving his number to the right people, I brought his entire empire of lies crashing down. Sometimes, karma needs a little push. And sometimes, the people who think they're untouchable are already standing on quicksand. They just need someone to step aside and let them sink. If this story gave you chills, smash that like button. And tell me in the comments, what's the most satisfying revenge you've ever seen play out? Don't forget to subscribe if you want more stories like this, because trust me, we've got plenty.